Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I've always been somewhat of a purist in regards to sports, and I wasn't a fan of replay for the most part. Obviously, it's needed when the referees fall asleep like they did in the New Orleans-Los Angeles football game, but I always felt that getting better refs and better umpires was the answer to the dilemma. I don't claim to know anything about the inner rules of horse racing, but Saturday's Kentucky Derby made me think we may have too much instant replay, and it is taken away for the reason that we actually have it. When a guy slides into second base safely, then the replay shows that his foot came off the bag for a split second. He's called out, is totally against the spirit of the game. Besides, if you want to challenge a call, do it before you actually see the results on the replay inside the dugout or on the field. Or if it takes more than 2 minutes to decide, that call should go back to the original call on the field. They don't call me the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason for nothing. Bud Shaw is here. He calls me that. I call him the best there is. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night. It's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd year, and as always, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Seen exclusively also a whole bunch of plays. Is it possible to be seen exclusively on a whole lot of things? Bud Shaw is with us exclusively on More Sports and Les Levine. What's new?
Not much. Like you, I watched the finish of the Kentucky Derby and was at a public place where I watched
An establishment.
Yeah, okay, it was a bar. And I was getting takeout food, and as soon as it ended, I grabbed my bag and went home.
Thought you had a winner.
Got home and found out that the horse I saw across the finish line didn't win the race. But I don't know anything about the rules either, Les. I just know that what was created was a very dangerous situation by this horse moving as much away from the rail as it did on that final turn.
But came back quickly.
Yeah, but there's one angle now that shows when they're coming around the turn, he moves almost 3 or 4 spots before coming back.
To the left or to the right?
In front of other horses. And I think my question is, there's never been a disqualification like this in the Kentucky Derby history.
Which is surprising, by the way.
Yeah. So if there is one, the people who have decided that the horse has to be taken down, the winner, you would think they would make themselves available to answer some questions about it.
Yeah, they haven't done that.
No, they issue a statement, maybe 30 minutes later.
Right.
So you don't know, was there consensus on this statement?
It has to be.
Well, was there unanimity on the statement?
Okay.
Or were there some people saying, wait, this is muddy track, rough and tumble race, we can't disqualify a horse here. It would have been nice to know what the process and why they arrived at that decision.
I was most surprised that there hasn't been some kind of disqualification or even an inquiry.
I mean, this is the first field in, I think, a number of years that hasn't had at least 20 horses in it. And that's a lot of pounds of flesh coming down a track looking to find the finish line. And you would just
I heard them explain why they had 20, because it's such an important great thing, and you want to give everybody a chance to do it. Well, okay, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it was.
Well, then why isn't there 30?
I mean, 40? I'm not a betting person, but there were people in this establishment that were betting on this horse. Well, so someone was holding up money as I left, saying maximum security won.
Bad move on his part, but
his bad move was staying there for the. Yeah, he should have left immediately.
I can't believe I heard about so many people who threw their ticket away. If you have a ticket to the Kentucky Derby that you bet on, if you went there exclusively for that reason, and that's what they did, there isn't that many people throwing their tickets away.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't throw one away on a 65-1 long shot until I was sure that the results were official.
How about there was bigger than 60 to 1 or 65 to 1 back in 1913. That's hard to believe there hasn't been a bigger upset.
Yeah, it was.
It's only 2 minutes.
And now it's under appeal. I don't know what good that's going to do.
Nothing.
They're certainly not going to change the result.
No, but they may change the rule, although they haven't had a need for it.
No.
216-575-0403. We got lots to talk about. The national narrative of the Cleveland Browns. Greedy Williams started something he had no idea he was going to start. And we'll also talk about Jay Williams, who made some comments on First Take today about LeBron James. I think you'll find it interesting. Did you find it interesting?
I did, yes. Anytime LeBron questions a person who's leaving their position and the way they do it,
right?
He's going to leave himself open to some criticism.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's take a look. Well, first, we'll go to what Sports Illustrated has done. You talk about the narrative of Cleveland Browns football. Let's take a look at the power rankings that they put out. So you got the top 4 is, of course, the Patriots, the defending champs, the Saints, the Chiefs, the Rams. Then it goes to 11 where we have the Cleveland Browns. It's pretty good, right? And then the other AFC North teams. 16th in the power ratings, the Steelers and the Ravens at where they're at. And then number 31 is the Cincinnati Bengals. Is 11 about where you would put them?
Yeah, I would think so.
Right on the edge of the top 10?
I know some people feel like they should be higher than that based on the acquisition of Odell Beckham and seeing what we saw from Mayfield last year and
right.
As good as Nick Chubb is. But they haven't. I'm with the coaches who say we haven't proven anything yet.
No.
So
7, 8, and 1.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this a few times, and I get some hate tweets when I do. They were 5-3 in turning that season around, but didn't beat a team with a winning record.
Right.
Now it's not their fault that they played mostly teams without winning records.
Right.
I understand that, but the fact is they lost to the 3 teams that had winning records.
216-575-0403. Bud Shaw of WKYC.com is with us tomorrow. Tomorrow, Dan Lobby from cleveland.com. Wednesday is Terry Pluto, and Thursday the D-Man Dennis Manilow. All right, let's get going. Bud, you've got some things to say about Greedy Williams.
I do, Les, and here's one of them. One of Freddie Kitchens' latest wisdoms was to let rookie corner Greedy Williams know that his draft day Super Bowl prediction should not be repeated. Maybe wait for a winning season in Berea first. Williams, if you remember, also talked about tearing up the league, along with last year's number 4 overall pick, Denzel Ward. That's uncomfortably close to Johnny Manziel's wreck this league for my preference. And you could say that Williams is just an excitable young guy getting carried away on draft day, but, well, those same excuses were made for Manziel. Fact is, Kitchens is right when he says the Browns haven't done anything yet. What'll be fascinating to watch is whether the rookie head coach is as plain speaking with Odell Beckham Jr. and other vets as he is with young players. People close to Kitchens think he will be, but like going to the playoffs more than once in 20 years, it's apparently easier said than done.
I think in a perfect world for Freddie Kitchens, I think that was a perfect setup that Greedy Williams came in and said that, because it gave Kitchens the opportunity to do exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have to manufacture it.
Yeah, and my point on Odell Beckham Jr., I understand he's an established player. I understand that these workouts are voluntary, right?
Right.
But he is coming to a new team, and if you put a polygraph on Freddie Kitchens and said, would you want him to be here?
Of course.
Of course he would. He would prefer it. So would John-Dorsey. So when the media asks, why isn't the guy here, Freddie has turned it around to, there's nothing to worry about because he's in shape, and if he isn't in shape, ready for the season, it's on me. That's not the point. The point is Freddie Kitchens can't make Odell Beckham Jr. Get along with his teammates and meld with them. And that's what this thing is about. It's about saying, I'm a leader on this team. I want to be there when the young players are here, and I want to show them that I'm going to be a leader and help this team.
Did you hear any of the comments as a video, Instagram or something was set out about showing Beckham working out and making fantastic plays,
Mm-hmm.
and then they realized it was made last June?
I didn't know that last part. I did see it, but But it's not the point about him. Like, he tweeted back to, I think it was Tony Grossi, and said, basically when Grossi wrote something similar to what I just said, he said, "I'm working out. What's the problem?" And well, that's not the issue. The issue isn't, like, nobody's saying that he's sitting in a bar somewhere when he should be out on the field working.
The problem is getting together with
all.
his quarterback, Baker-Mayfield. All right, let's jump back to the Jay Williams comment. LeBron James says he was upset. He was in the locker room waiting for a game to start that he wasn't going to be playing in anyway, and that's when the news broke on Magic Johnson. And as you said, he basically did what he's claiming that Magic did. He said he did it twice in Cleveland, and he also did it with Pat Riley. So,
yeah, I don't think Jay Williams is too far out of order for talking about that, and I would go as far as to say he's dead on. I mean, now I understand if you're LeBron James, you feel like you've reached a certain point, and this general manager in particular, or president of basketball operations, is one of the guys that recruited you. So should Magic have told him? Yeah, I think so. But LeBron...
But LeBron should have done that somewhere along the line.
Well, sure.
Also.
If you got an owner who's paying you what Dan Gilbert has paid him...
Well, not only that, knowing where the franchise is going to go with him one way or without him another.
Yeah, he doesn't have a leg to stand on that complaint.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-leslevine@gmail.com. We are here, by the way, somebody wanted to know when we actually do this show. We do it live from 6 to 7, Monday through Friday, and then you can archive it 24 hours a day. And but we do, if you want to participate by phoning in or emailing us, it's Eastern Time, 6 to 7, Monday through Friday. More Sports and Les Levine. Bud Shaw, normally with us on Tuesday night, is with us here on a Wednesday.
Monday.
Today would be Monday.
I will not be here on Wednesday.
Well, now I'm confused. Will I be here on Wednesday?
The real Les Levine will be here on Wednesday.
So the real somebody will be here on whenever he will be here. All right, Mike Masetta is standing by. He's from Nature's Stone. We always check in and find out what Mike is thinking. We'll do that when we get back. Also, we've got Facebook. You can find us on Facebook, MS&LL. And new content is posted each and every day here on More Sports and Les Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Pretty good. Any day you have Willie Mays on your birthdays is a good birthday date. Mary Had a Little Lamb back in 1947. Jason Witten, the unemployed. Is he employed now by the Dallas Cowboys?
I think so.
Chris Paul, Jose Altuve, pretty good day. And Jonas Valanciunas. All born on this day, which is May 6th, 2019. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Also on Monday nights, we bring in Mike Masetta from Nature's Stone. We're going to find out what he's thinking. I know one thing he's thinking, Bud, is that he coached some real good baseball with his young son, and they won a big tournament. Mike, are you there?
I'm here, Les. How you doing?
You can't do it without the players, Mike.
No. Yeah, we were just talking about that today. Is it the coach that makes the players, or the players make the coach? And I'll tell you, it was the players that made the coach this weekend. That's for sure. They played real well.
They have Tom Brady. What was it? A statewide event?
Yeah, they had teams from all over the state, Youngstown, Canton area. I'm trying to remember where everybody was from, but it was a nice-sized tournament, and they played it at Akron, at Patterson Park in Akron.
Excellent. And you won the whole thing. And, of course, the scouts were there on the 11-year-old kids, right?
Yeah, they were sitting there with the guns and the clocks, seeing the 60-mile-an-hour pitches coming, so it was all good.
No, seriously.
It was good time. We had, because of the weather and everything, we had to win 3 games on Sunday.
Wow.
So they were able, Diamond Boys organization out of Hudson, and we've been with them for 4 years, and this was the Blue Chip Classic. So we won 3 in a row on Sunday and took home the big trophy.
All right, now let's go to the Indians here for a minute, and we'll throw it out to Bud and to you. What are they now with the injuries, more injuries to the pitchers? Do they need to add pitching, or do they overcome it with hitting, if that's possible? Matt-Kemp has become available. I don't know if you want him, but what do you think? What are you going to do with the pitching situation?
Well, overcoming it with hitting would be, but they got to hit, to get there, and they don't seem to be doing that. So, what do they do? Look, they've got 3 really, really good starters, and then they've got the fourth guy, the young kid they brought up. So they've got Bauer, Carrasco, Bieber, and then I believe his last name is Rodriguez.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rodriguez.
Yeah, and so those 4 guys can pitch. So you're really talking about a 5th starter. Other than that, their bullpen is in real good shape, and it seemed to be doing real well this year. So I'd probably just ride it out. Clevenger looks like he might be ahead of schedule, and see what happens. And I'd like to see where the team is at without making any drastic type moves. Come the trade deadline. Come the All-Star break. And if you're in contention for the division, or if Minnesota goes into a little bit of a slump and you end up taking it over, let's look at it realistically. They're 18-14 and they're in second place in the division, and I think they hold one of the wild card spots. So it's not like they're that far back.
No, the difference is that Minnesota seems legitimate at this time when they haven't the last couple of years. But what's your thought on that?
Well, we had this conversation today at WKYC when we did a podcast, and it was, are they worse off because this is happening with so many games remaining in the season than they were when Carrasco and Salazar went down in 2016 in September?
Right. And
they were 86-62 already. The division was wrapped up, and they got to the playoffs and were able to use that bullpen earlier and earlier in games. Were they worse off when it happened with Bauer in August, and they were comfortable ahead in the division? I think this is a bigger challenge because they're not comfortably ahead in the division. They're behind in the division.
And also, if they go down 2 runs, Mike, I don't know about you, I may as well turn off the TV because they're not going to make up a 2-run edge, which is really impossible to believe with a major league team.
Well, Lindor's got to get his bat going, and let's face it. I mean, he hasn't swung the bat, in spring training or anything until he came back about a week ago. So, he's just getting his legs under him. Ramirez has got to start hitting the ball, or they got to find somebody else to put in that 3-hole. And, but you're right. I mean, their offense is just not producing runs right now. And if you're going to rely on Carlos Santana as your number 4 hitter, and he's 20 and 80 every year, which is good numbers. That's not 4-hole numbers. You've got a long way to go, to get yourself to the playoffs. So they need to do something, for sure. But again, I'd like to see, just because of the way they're playing. They just took 2 or 3 from Seattle. Let's see what happens. Come the first week in July. If they're out of the division or they're out of the race, then you can start to talk about maybe trading some of their veteran pitchers off to try to get some young talent in here and improve the team for the future. If they're in the race, now you can look at what you really need, and get a better idea of what Clevenger and Kluber's injuries are and when they may come back, and see what you actually need in order to make a push for the playoffs.
All right, let me say this before I forget. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There you go. All right, so
you.
tell me, what you brought up a good point, maybe without even trying to do that, and that is that they won 2 of 3 from Seattle, but the 10-0 shellacking, people forget that's just one game. It makes it seem like they lost the series, but they really didn't. But now you've got Chicago coming in for 4. And you should be able to, I would think you'd be able to win 3 of 4. We'll see on that. They're not they had been playing well until this past week. But what's bothersome to some people in that 10-0 shellacking, you got Jay Bruce with the grand slam. You got Edwin Encarnacion. Then you look and you hear that Houston is saying the best hitter on their team is Michael Brantley. All that stuff hurts more than anything.
Oh, sure, yeah. It looks bad on paper, but again, this is baseball. It's one game, and they've got 10 more to play in the next 10 days. I think. I don't think that they have an off day for a while.
No.
So
and many of them are at home. Many of the games
a lot of
are at
baseball left to play, and yeah, if they're going to win games, 4-2, 5-3, that's fine. That's a win, and you win and you keep going, and. But that's what baseball is. Every once in a while, the Indians in 1995 got shellacked a couple times, during the course of the season, but they were still the best team in the American League,
right.
By far, and still scored a ton of runs. So, you just don't know in baseball what's going to happen, and you kind of got to let it play out a little bit. Too early to overreact, in my opinion.
Right. Well, congratulations on your big win. It's on your resume that you coached them to a championship. Good for you. And,
Thank you.
And good for you to join us, so I can say one more time, wow, it's Nature Stone.
Hey, really appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, that's one that I'm going to just put my arm around the kids and say, hey, nice job. You guys got it done this weekend. Let's go get another one.
Very good. Mike, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Mike Masetta from Nature Stone, 216-575-0403. We're going to talk a little bit about the rookie minicamp, if there's anything to take away from that. In the meantime, Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of the harness racing on Monday through Wednesday, as well as Saturdays. Post time is 6 p.m. You can visit Lady Luck's Clubhouse for your dining pleasure on Saturday evenings, featuring the buffet for just $15.95. Call for reservations. Northfield Park opens early every day with simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. Free parking, free admission every day. That's at Northfield Park. And we'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine is seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
When my dad started Nature Stone right here in Northeast Ohio, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems. Unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and always affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
What was the reaction when you said, well, the Browns are going to the Super Bowl?
That was just, excitement that day. I was excited, know what we had. So, right now I'm at work, so I'm definitely learning the playbook, coming in, ready to work, and, hopefully, everybody working towards their goals. So that's one of our goals.
I think I like the confidence. I like the excitement and the passion that he has. But I think that mantra kind of changed today, probably, right? Did he talk to you any today?
Yeah,
so,
he said you talked to him about it.
Yeah, so we're not in the prediction business like I told you guys.
Okay, you know he's going to come across, as a new coach, he's going to come across a whole bunch of things. This was not the worst thing in the world to start with.
What do you mean the worst?
It's not like he was handed a press release and somebody got, not a press release, but a note, and somebody did something they shouldn't have done.
Oh, no.
This is so minor and
yeah,
so
this
perfect.
is a really kind of harmless thing, but it's perfect if you're trying to establish certain things here, and one of which is prove yourself before you start thinking that you've arrived, then this was an incident where he could use it and get his point across.
All right. As far as playing the game, everybody I talked to who saw Greedy Williams said he's tall, 6'2", and kind of spidery in his movement. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I joke with you or not, but scouts say about him things that they've never said about me, which is he needs to put on more weight, that guy. You know, he needs and he is. He's slightly built. He's tall, kind of rangy.
Which is why maybe he's a problem as far as tackling
Could be.
is concerned.
Yeah, they questioned how physical he was as a corner. And that's not just stopping the run. That's handling yourself against big receivers, you know? I mean, being tall is one thing against a big receiver like A.J. Green, but you also have to be physical enough to, you know, to get where you need to be when the ball's arriving. And those are going to be questions about him, I think.
I've often wondered when a guy comes in, we've never had a guy named Greedy, but do you think that the name sort of establishes himself one way or the other? In other words, if his name was Joe, do you think anybody would even notice him?
Oh, they'd probably notice him still if he said,
we're going to go to the Super Bowl.
We're going to go to the Super Bowl. And if he was at one point a first round, you know, some people were thinking he might go in the top 15.
Right.
And instead he ends up being the 7th cornerback taken. So I think there's some curiosity about why that was the case. And we know John Dorsey has said these corners get paid to cover, they don't get paid to tackle. Well, we'll see how often he says that if there are yards after the catch being made on this guy because he can't get a receiver to the ground.
All right, the Browns added a couple of players, and they, of course, had to waive a few. I don't think it's going to change the team all that much, but you've got Trayon Gray. There's the graphic, as you see, about him and what he has done. He was signed, along with Javonte Dean. You see all about him, and Willie Harvey is also signed. Then they had to waive some people. Running back is Darren Hall. He gets waived. So does Ashton Lampkin. And linebacker Xavier Woodson-Luster.
And my prediction is that if you had flipped those completely and said that they had signed the guys they waived and waived the guys they signed, most people wouldn't know the difference.
They'd say, oh, they sound like they can play. There you see it from Miami, Florida. 216-575.
Big running back there, I'll tell you that.
0403, yeah, no question about that. And then you see also Javonte Dean, 28 tackles, 3 interceptions in 2 years at the U. Willie Harvey is a linebacker from Iowa State at 6 foot even and 224 pounds, 76 tackles, 9 tackles for losses, and there you have it in his couple of years at Iowa State. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. When we come back, we're going to hear from Freddie-Kitchens, and he's going to talk about Baker-Mayfield and other things besides Odell Beckham. We'll do that when we get back. Of course, we have the voicemail of Truth and Reason, which you can check out 24 hours a day. And try to keep it as short as possible. If it's too long, we won't be able to read it. The number to call is 216-200-6650. Call anytime, 24 hours a day for More Sports Les Levine, the voicemail of Truth and Reason. And we'll come back in a moment with Bud Shaw. We're halfway through More Sports Les Levine, as seen on cleveland.com.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. The Babe hits his first home run on this date in 1915. His team, the Red Sox, lose that game by a score of 4-3, and it went 13 innings. They lost it to the New York Yankees.
Did anybody rip him for hitting home runs only in losing causes?
Well, no, but they said his arc angle was pretty good.
His launch angle?
His launch angle.
Yeah, yeah.
They're going to find out when they check the Babe's career, he was not that good of a player. 216-575-0403. By the way, can I get something off my chest?
Yeah, and then I have a question for you because I know you're a baseball guy and I want to hear what you're
well, I'm also a food guy.
Okay.
So there's a place in this area that I sometimes stop at on the way into the studio. A fast food place, and we won't name which one it is.
Okay.
But it's the same one, and 9 times out of 10 I get the exact same thing. And 9 times out of 10 it costs a different amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody want to explain that to me? The same place?
No, I have a restaurant in my town, in my neighborhood that right. happens at too.
All the time?
Yes.
And also, I keep, why do you keep going there? After I tell you that they always get the order wrong. And so the question of why I still go there is because I find it exciting to see how they're going to mess it up this time around.
And how much you're going to pay for a wrong order.
And I don't care as long as it's a different amount of money.
All right, so now I have a baseball question.
I'm ready.
Is this a good time to ask it?
Absolutely.
All right, you're a guy who saw the first chapter, several chapters of CC Sabathia's career. We discussed this on our Triple Play podcast today. Shameless plug there. Ben Axelrod and I. And we were trying to get to CC's Hall of Fame credentials.
Okay.
Where do you think he stands as a Hall of Fame candidate? He has announced, if anyone doesn't know, that this will be his final year. Mm-hmm. He'll have had 19 years in, the final 10 in New York.
And how many wins?
I think he was 246 coming into the
number
season.
One, there won't be a 300-win pitcher anymore.
We know he just surpassed the 3,000 strikeout.
Yeah, fantastic. And most importantly, if you're going to ask where he stands, the fact that he has the New York Yankee uniform on probably puts him into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Is he a Hall of Fame pitcher? I don't know, but I'll tell you what. On the Indians teams, when he was here, you needed a pitcher to win a big game. He was one of my top few choices.
Yeah, and we'll hear no doubt. We'll hear from people who say he had a bad postseason, I think, in 2007, which is true. He also had a phenomenal postseason in 2009 with the Yankees and won a World Series.
And he also carried Milwaukee into the postseason. I forget what year that was.
Yeah, 2008.
One of the great performances of all time.
Absolutely. And I think ended up going there pretty late in the season. It was trade deadline time, right?
Right.
And still won 11 or 12 games.
They handed him the ball, and he said,
They handed it to him every 3 days.
Not only they handed it to him, he said, give it to me.
Yeah. And a guy
which he didn't have to do.
And they knew that they weren't going to be able to re-sign him. He knew that he was heading toward a big free agent contract, and he still took the ball every 3 days. He's got six, I think, all-star appearances. He's got a Cy Young. He's got a World Series title. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. When I was voting for it, back in the day, I would hear from New York writers who'd want to know, without asking me my vote, they want to know how I saw Don Mattingly as a player. Was he Hall of Fame worthy?
Right.
And I know they were all writing stories, and some of them no doubt felt that he was. They watched him every day. And I remember saying to the one guy that was asking me, I said, if he had played his career in Kansas City, would we be having this discussion?
What did he say?
He said probably not.
Okay.
So I think if you're CC Sabathia, and that's what Ben asked me today was, does he go in with an Indians hat on or a Yankees hat on? If I'm him, I'm going in as a Yankee.
Yeah.
I'm going to at least declare that I'm going in as a Yankee. He won the World Series with them. He spent 10 years there. And I think his chances are better as a Yankee, believe it or not.
I think so, too. The one I always point to with the Yankee uniform is Phil Rizzuto, Phil was a nice ball player, but he played with phenomenal teams, the Yankees of those days, including Joe DiMaggio and into the Mantle era. And I just didn't think he was that good of a player, but because he's New York and he was their television voice for 30 years or whatever that is, that I think that's the ticket.
Well, one of the things that Anthony Castrovents, who's a very, very good baseball writer for MLB, had addressed CeCe's Cooperstown candidacy. And he brings up a couple of things that people look at not quite sure about him. And one was he had a higher ERA than a lot of pitchers do.
Okay.
The other is the stat that people pay more attention to now than they did when you and I were growing up playing baseball. It's the wins against replacement. You know, it's below the average of pitchers who are in the Hall of Fame, but it's still better or close to as good as guys like Feller. So. Yeah. I think in the end, and Anthony made this point, and I think he's right, it's a guy that I use every once in a while when I don't think guys are going to get on the first ballot. I think he'll probably go more the way of Mike Mussina, where he gets in later in his life. All
right, let's get back to Mayfield and Freddie-Kitchens and how they're going to survive. We took a look at some second-year quarterbacks, and we put them in with if they came in with a new head coach. And let's see how that turns out. We got an example here that we'll start with Mitchell Trubisky. We all know him from Mentor, Ohio. He's coach Matt Nagy, coach of the year, and his playoff finish was in his second year was they lost to the Eagles, and that was in the NFC wild card. Then we continue on. We take a look at another example, and that's Jared Goff, and he was 4-12 in 2017. Sean McVay comes along, and they have that record there you see. And the playoff finish was losing to the Falcons also, 24-13. That was in the wild card game. Mike Mularkey was the coach who had a year under his belt, and the second-year quarterback in this case was Mariota, and Mariota under new coach Mike Mularkey. They were 3-13 coming into that year. They finished 9-7 with no playoff appearance. And then we continue on to this one, Tim Tebow. 2018 record was 4-12. New head coach comes in, it's John Fox, and the record that year was 8-8, and his playoff finish was a loss to the Patriots in a AFC divisional round. A lot of people will forget that Tim Tebow actually did that.
Yeah, I think that was the year that they beat the Steelers, correct?
Yeah, they beat the Steelers and then lost the next game.
Yeah, so I don't know what that tells me exactly, other than, good coaching can put a player in a better position. But it's also the second year of a team that probably has more draft choices. They're probably better all around the quarterback also.
Which takes us to comparing Freddie-Kitchens with Baker-Mayfield, and it's clear, looking at those examples, that Freddie-Kitchens has taken over a better team, one would think, than these four did, and one would think that some of the obstacles into winning some games are taken away, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have a better record than anybody here.
Yeah, the one thing that stands out is that Freddie-Kitchens and Baker-Mayfield already have time together, too.
As the offensive coordinator, no question about that. When we come back, we'll talk more. We'll take your phone calls at 216-575-0403. By the way, I'll be on radio tomorrow on 92.3 The Fan. I'll be in with Andy Baskin for Jeff Phelps. That'll be from 10 until 2 tomorrow morning and into the afternoon. 216-575-0403. But I want to remind you about the wine tasting at Sokolowski's. It's on the 2nd of June. It's going to be terrific. Wente Wines celebrating their 100th anniversary with Sokolowski's. And give them a call. Check out the website. You'll get more information for the cost and location and all that. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, the winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. It's about 4 years ago. Only 5 in the country get it each and every year, and we believe that they're the only ones that have ever won it from the city of Cleveland. We'll take a break. We'll come on back. Bud Shaw with us. More Sports and Les Levine continues on cleveland.com.
Concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Bud, let's take a look at this day in Les Levine history. May 6, 1964, second baseman Les Levine and his brush-high infield combined for 11 RBIs in a win, a big win over Lakewood. Al Feldman had 5 RBIs, Buddy Forsythe had 3, John Cohout had 3 also, as the infield combined for 11 RBIs. Did you do the math? You did.
I did.
How come quickies? How come the Yankees took them 12 games to realize that Babe guy was a pretty good hitter as well as a pitcher? I mean, wasn't he hitting him over stadiums? Wasn't he hitting him 10 miles away in batting practice? Somebody said, take a look at the Babe over there. Oh, no, he's just a pitcher. He's a real good pitcher. He's going to hold records, World Series record for years and years and years. We mentioned earlier that we have voicemail, the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Let's hear what at least one person had to say on our voice of Facebook. I'm sorry, of our voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Hi, Les. This is Ron Byer. Do you agree with the frustration the fans, as well as some media, have towards the Indians organization and not accomplish enough in restoring the offensive weapons lost in the offseason? Now more so because of the injuries of our key pitchers who are expected to carry the team.
Well, it's hard to take a tape and then give a response to it and go back and forth, but what do you think?
Well, I'll say this. I mentioned Anthony Castrovins earlier, and he's on Twitter a lot, and I was following him the other day, and I think one of the points he makes, and I know people say, oh, you're just you're making excuses for the Dolans, but one of the points he makes is that no matter what they had done in the offseason, if Lindor and Ramirez are the players we've seen this year, they're not winning anything. No. They wouldn't win anything if everybody else was still in place here and those two guys don't hit. Now, I know that's selective, evidence of what's happened here, but Jose Ramirez is now about 4 months into a slump.
Last 2 months. Although I hate to take the Indians line, it looks like he's hitting the ball better. I don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But he certainly has to be more of a. I think at one point he was projecting to with 11 homers and 29 or 39 RBIs
for the year.
For the year, I mean,
that's not good.
It was really bad initially. So, I just wonder where the reinforcements are going to come from if they're not willing to go out and do something, drastic at the trade deadline.
We've got an idea, and we'll see if people agree with it or not. We have a Facebook question of the day, and it talks pretty much about what we said earlier. You got pitching problems, so do you load up on another pitcher somehow, or do you go get some offense? So what's the Indians' priority right now? So Rick May starts it off. We need a positional player. We have a league-low .215 batting average. We have the pitching. We need the hitters to go with it.
I like Rick. I'm voting for Rick right now.
Jim Roode, because of the poor offseason, the front office will now need to overpay on prospects and money for hitters, second base and outfield if they want to overtake the Twins. Come on, Twins are only 2 games up. Byron Mason, letting Yandy Diaz go for a bag of baseballs is going to haunt this team for years, and spare me the nonsense about where would he play. Totally agree with Roode. See, we have guys that we agree with here.
I don't think he's going to. I don't think letting him go is going to haunt them for years to come. But I agree with the second part of it. There was a spot for him.
Jeffrey Anderson getting a second baseman who can hit above 200. Glenn Berger wants positional help. Indians have the second worst offense in Major League Baseball. They need help offensively. Easier said than done, however. Dennis Percy, neither. Start a full fire sale.
Oh, boy.
You want to do that? I'm not ready for that.
I don't think the Dolans want to do that right now.
No. Gerard Morelli, a new hitting coach, and I'm not being sarcastic. Trent Harrop, patience. It's a virtue, Bud.
It is
Patience is a virtue.
No, I definitely wouldn't go starting pitching. Not when Clevenger looks like he's going to be back in June. He can't come off the DL or the IL now until June 7th. But he certainly looks like he's going to come back and be able to help.
If he's okay by June 7th, fine, and sit him down for another 2 weeks.
Sure, but I think he projects as a guy that, now you have 4 pitchers in that rotation that you sort of like, don't you?
Oh,
if he
yes.
comes. We always assume, though, I'll say this, we always assume that these guys are going to come back as the same players they were when they left.
And immediately.
And in Clevenger's case, he was pretty darn good.
Yeah. All right, so should the Indians target, we talked about a right-handed hitter. There's one out there, his name is Matt-Kemp, actually played in the All-Star game last year. And this year, at the age of 34, his 14th MLB season, he's only hit 200 for the Reds and 1 homer. And 290 average last year with 21 homers, and he's recovering from a fractured rib. I don't know how far along he is in that process. Is that if he's healthy, you want that guy?
I don't want the 1 homer, 5 RBI guy, that's for sure.
With a recovering from a broken hip.
Yeah.
It's a name that you would have wanted a couple of years ago.
And it kind of is they've made similar moves before. If you want to throw Josh Donaldson into that bag.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw with us. Dan Lobby will talk football tomorrow. Wednesday night it'll be Terry Pluto. Then Thursday, the D-Man Dennis Maniloff joins us. Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday through Wednesday as well as Saturdays. Post time is 6 p.m. Northfield Park opens early every day for simulcast action from the top thoroughbred and harness tracks all around the world. Players Club members can enter the free handicapping contest every Sunday for a chance to win the top prize of $500 cash. It's free admission, free parking every day. That's at Northfield Park. 216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to get in before we close up shop. You can certainly do that. And again, as I mentioned, tomorrow night, it will be Dan Lobby. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Les Levine, with new content posted each and every day. Back in a moment, More Sports and Les Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Nature Stone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of May and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, let's check out tomorrow night. Dan Lobby will be here from cleveland.com. He's the one on the left, by the way. Remind me after the show to tell you something very funny similar to that. Remind me, will you? Make a note of it.
I will.
That'll be tomorrow. You see us live from 6 until 7. You can archive us all day and all night on cleveland.com. All right, Mr. Gullible comes in with his how come quickies tonight. How come for some chemists alcohol is not a problem, it's a solution?
That's pretty strong.
That's pretty strong. All right, how strong is, how come he who laughs last didn't get the joke at first? All right, here comes John Patrick with his looking for a 10, bud.
I gave him as high a grade as I could give him.
I know. Well, you got to understand, if you give him the 10, there's a chance he just may close up shop, tip his cat, and walk away. And I don't want to do that. These are too good. How come my wife doesn't like that our neighbor's son sunbathes in the nude, but I'm on the fence?
Is there another one?
Yes. How come the guy who coined the phrase one-hit wonders never coined anything else? And our winner is, we got to get a Sharpie. What do you got there? I can't see that.
9.85.
9.85?
Yes. Not the one on the fence.
No, the other one was...
No, the other one, the one-hit wonder one, was very strong.
Very strong.
Almost as good as last week's when I gave him a 9.9. I need a black marker.
Yeah, that's what we need. I got a yellow one. Will that help?
No.
Okay. All right, let's, one thing to do at a time like this, and that's to go to BP and Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Does BP stand for the bat phone?
It could.
Well,
there's a superhero on the other end.
Usually you call Batman when there's a problem. So.
Yeah. We need some Batmen.
No, I just wanted to mention how you guys doing. Well?
Good, and you?
Wait a minute.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're doing well.
Oh, good. Okay, I can hang up then. I just want to see how you're doing.
Okay, great talking.
Straighten out the Indians first before you go.
That's it?
Great show, as always.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you. Oh, go ahead.
I read on cleveland.com that LeBron James was back here in town over the weekend having dinner at Tremont. Did you guys see that?
Did not.
No.
Yeah, he was over at Dante's restaurant.
I hope it was Sokolowski's.
No, he didn't make it to Sokolowski's this trip. Sorry.
So we'll give him a shameless plug.
He might be there for the wine tasting.
What restaurant was he at? We'll give him a shameless plug.
He was at Dante's in Tremont.
Okay.
Think that means he's trying to come back here and finish his career?
No, more importantly, did he tip for a change?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
His words, sir. His words.
No. He tipped them with some LeBron 16s. New shoes.
Okay, let me just say the opinion.
I hear there's a lot of those these days.
The opinions just expressed by Les Levine is certainly not those only of cleveland.com. And, well, excuse me, maybe it is or maybe it isn't. But it's not necessarily those of More Sports and Les Levine.
Yeah.
Did I get that?
No, it's totally wrong.
I think
well,
you got
there's
that
rumors
right.
about it. There's rumors about it.
But no, it is interesting. LeBron, usually he's been occupied this time of the year playing basketball games.
Yeah.
Now he's having high school reunions with his buddies at restaurants, which is interesting. But
who do you think picks up the check on those?
Probably Rich Paul. He's the agent with all the money.
It's my guess too.
He's a very rich Paul.
Yeah, but it was interesting. They had Romeo Travis was there, and all the guys that he played high school ball with. So it was pretty cool to see the guys. And LeBron's a great guy. I mean, he takes care of all his old buddies, and I'm sure
wouldn't it be great if one guy brought a basketball? Probably LeBron has it in the trunk of his car, no matter what he's driving, and they pick out a hoop in one of the driveways in Tremont and just start playing. How cool would that be?
BP, I'll give him this.
Cool. LeBron, comes back to his old town. He's still coming back here. That's why my prediction. I told Les and the D-Man last week. If the Cavs get Zion Williamson in that draft lottery next week, do not be surprised to see LeBron James back here soon.
Wow.
Sooner than later.
Like this year?
I looked it up. He's got 2 more years left in LA, and the third year is an option. So let's just say he's got 2 more solid years that he's indebted to Los Angeles. The biggest problem is that he makes $37 million a year. So
how many more years does it say that Magic Johnson has with the Lakers?
He decided to leave. He jumped ship.
Oh.
Well, don't you think he moved out there for reasons other than basketball, and those reasons haven't changed? So why would he move back for only basketball reasons?
Unless they can't get it done.
I think the whole thing was kind of lame. I think he thought that I think he he thought he had a very good talent of young guys out there. He really liked, the talent, and he overestimated the talent on his team, and also how tough the NBA Western Conference is. So, unfortunately, LeBron just, miscalculated.
If he was just going for basketball reasons, he would have gone to Philadelphia, I would think.
But even that's not, completely solid. Like, Joel Embiid is always injured, or
that's true.
Always sick, injured. He's got bad knee. He's out of shape now.
Indeed.
So that wasn't that easy of a move either. And then Houston, LeBron probably didn't want to be second fiddle to James Harden. So it wasn't an easy decision.
That's true.
Well, it's I'll give you this much. It's a little harder to see how that franchise is going to instantly become a contender out there in the next year,
with the
unless something happens where Kawhi Leonard goes there or Durant goes there. I mean,
Durant's not going there.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't think he is either, but it's going to take something like that.
Do you think Durant's going with Kyrie somewhere?
One thing I wanted to mention is that Kemba Walker is free to walk and leave Charlotte. He only makes like $12 million a year now. I could easily see him joining up with LeBron out there, and then I could also see DeMarcus Cousins. Actually, it was came over ESPN while you guys have been on the air that DeMarcus Cousins says he's going to be able to play in this playoffs, in these NBA playoffs.
Wow.
That just came breaking news.
All right, listen, BP, I'm going to be on 92.3 The Fan tomorrow from 10 to 2. So if you can just ship me some opening comments that I can use, or I'd much appreciate that.
I tried to send you an email once, but it bounced back.
Well, I'm trying to bounce back myself, so I understand that. Hey, great to talk to you, BP. Talk to you soon.
You too, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Right, Bud Shaw, WKYC.com. Got a closing comment or two or three?
I don't think LeBron's going anywhere. I think he'll, he doesn't have I think there's a no-trade clause, or he doesn't have a no-trade clause.
Right.
I guess they could move him, but
BP said sooner rather than later, and that probably doesn't work.
I mean, they could move him, I guess, but I don't see that happening. You got to.
Well, don't you think it depends on who comes in to replace Magic?
Well, yeah, and I think it's going to be tough. Well, not replacing Magic, but I think Ty Lue's getting the head coaching job, and that's certainly a familiar territory for LeBron. I don't think he went out there thinking he was going to compete for a title this year. Now, he may not have understood how hard it was going to be,
right?
But I don't think he thought, hey, here's a way to win a title.
No, but I'm
going to go there.
I thought he probably figured he could find a way to do it because his legacy is important to him, and his legacy took a big hit this year.
Did it?
I think, yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah, we can.
Do you look at him differently now than you did after he won in 2016?
I like the LeBron who sought championships, and I don't think he sought a championship this time around.
Well, I guess next year may either support your case or show that he's got another wingman that he thinks he can win with.
All right, Bud Shaw will be back with us next Tuesday night and forever and a day after that. And tomorrow, Dan Lobby joins us. We'll talk Cleveland Browns football. Terry Pluto on Wednesday. And then we'll have the D-Man, Dennis Manteloff. That'll be on Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow night, actually, on 92.3 The Fan from 10 until 2. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.